How's it going, everyone? Today you join us here at Get On ADV Fest presented by Revzilla, and oddly enough, this has been a weekend kind of full of motorcycles with sidecars. Not something I was really expecting, but we came across a couple cool ones, this one included. This is a 2011 Ural Gear Up, and we're going to talk to the owner, Brian, because he is being kind enough to give us some of his time and walk us around his bike. So Brian, I've got to ask, what initially made you want to get a motorcycle with a sidecar?
Well, you know, I was on the ADV forums years ago reading about them, and I was like, gosh, that sounds so cool to have, you know, but I just could never bring myself to buy one. And years go by, and I had a couple different bikes, KLR, ZX6R and whatnot, and got rid of those, and it was just the perfect time to buy, I guess. I saw one on Craigslist. Guy up in Minneapolis had one, so I drove up there and test drove it, and here she is.
Well, way cool. There's some particular things about this motorcycle that make it really unique, and I would say the biggest thing that makes this particular motorcycle sidecar combination unique is that it's, well, like you have this sticker here, it's two-wheel drive. So if you look, you can actually see a drive shaft there going from the rear wheel on the bike itself to the rear wheel, or the only wheel on the sidecar. That's pretty cool. So presumably this is a little bit more of an off-road ready combination. Have you taken it off-road?
Yes, I have. Yeah, actually just yesterday we were off-road and we got stuck in a mud hole, and the one wheel wasn't doing it, it was just spinning, you know. And so I engaged the two-wheel drive, and we basically drove right out of there. So like it was nothing. It was crazy.
How do you engage two-wheel drive on this bike?
So there's a lever down here that you hit.
Oh, okay.
This is the lever for the two-wheel drive.
Right.
So you move that back and engage it. Kind of helps if the wheel's spinning a bit to kind of.
Okay.
Because
it just slots basically a little easier.
I mean, it's basically like a locked rear end at that point. So you're you're going straight.
So the bike doesn't want to turn when you're in two-wheel drive very well?
Not very well, no. So
that makes sense.
A lot of guys recommend having a more aggressive tire on the rear end, on the motorcycle itself, just so that does most of the work. And then the sidecar wheel is, you can see it's a little bit less aggressive of a tire.
And I also noticed that, well, this wheel on the sidecar has a brake of its own, and your rear brake right here, it's all linked back and forth. So when you hit the rear brake, does this whole combination brake pretty straight, or do you notice it like pulling towards
with the
one side?
sidecar, it's not balanced. So when you accelerate, it'll pull towards the sidecar.
Right.
But then when you decelerate, it'll move to the left a bit. So it's something you got to get used to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take very long to get used to it. But a lot of guys will add a steering damper, and that kind of helps with that too.
Okay.
Kind of helps mitigate that. The newer models have a hydraulic damper that comes stock.
Nice.
This one just has a there's just like a rubber friction damper that's built in.
Oh, really? So interesting. Are you able to see that up at the front?
All it is, it's just built into the steering head here. So you just turn this down and it tightens down.
Oh, really?
And it's just a piece of rubber in there that kind of helps dampen it.
That's pretty cool.
That helps when you're off-road too. So, you know, you come into things, it's not bouncing quite around so much. Yeah.
Now I noticed you've also got a couple extra levers here on the side. Tell me about these.
Yep. So the previous owner added this. This is a shift lever, and I think as part of that kit it came with this extra lever here. So this is for reverse. This is actually the fastest bike in the world in reverse. You can get some aftermarket like electric setups and whatnot for reverse, for sidecars and whatnot, but
how fast does it go in reverse?
I don't know. It gets kind of squirrely in reverse, so you try to go kind of slow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you got your reverse lever here, and then you know your two-wheel drive, and this here is the parking brake. It's just a simple setup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just turn it like that.
Oh,
and it's just a little bolt on there and a nut.
Super simple.
Keep it in place.
Well, and that's what's cool about this bike, is that it's very military-esque. It's very simple, but that's what keeps it durable. And these are Russian, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Andre would love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your headlight, I noticed, has a little knob on the back. Does it move at all?
So this is a spotlight. Yep.
Oh,
and you just turn it on in the sidecar here. So you got extra light for going off-road at night. Or
did that come from the factory, or did you add that? That comes from the factory?
Comes from the factory that way.
That's awesome. So your passenger can light some stuff.
Yep.
If they want. I also noticed you have a Brembo brake on the front. Is that original?
That is stock.
Really?
So, yep.
No kidding.
So in the early 2000s, so they started really upgrading the bikes. Every year they've added and upgraded things, and the Brembo brakes in the front was one of the nice additions. Now you can get now they come with disc brakes all around. So before it was just drums up front, drums in the back, drums on the sidecar. So,
yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see a Brembo on it. It's not exactly what I would expect, especially when the suspension behind it isn't exactly Öhlins or anything. And
no.
You've got a very old school suspension design for the front forks.
Yep. And I mean, the heritage of this bike is from World War II.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. So they've made some improvements, throughout the years, but with communism they didn't exactly, go all out. They didn't have the Brembo and all that stuff. At their factory, apparently it's just huge, and you would have iron ore come in one end, and out the other end you'd have a bike. So they made everything there. Everything for the bike. Gears and everything. I
love the horizontally opposed motor is cool. It's kind of similar to a BMW design.
Yep.
Hell, even the front of the engine case almost looks a little bit like some of the old school airhead BMWs. And because this motor is longitudinal and not transverse, your Kickstarter is a pretty interesting setup. So this is it here. Have you ever had to kickstart the bike, or?
I haven't had to do it, but I have done it.
Is it hard?
No, it's not.
Could you demonstrate it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see. It's kind of an interesting Kickstarter design, not something you see often. Ah, look how easy that is. That's pretty impressive.
It's also not known for kicking back and, kneeing yourself in the face.
And the bike also has a really interesting noise to it. Yeah, it sounds very old school. It sounds like a military bike.
Yeah, you can hear stuff clicking away. You got the kind of sewing machine noises too and whatnot. It's pretty cool.
Well, it's way cool. Well, here, we'll cut it off real quick, and I'd love to point out something that you showed me the other day. Your seat design is a little custom.
Yep. So the bike originally comes with, for the sidecar, it has these rubber devices on there for the suspension, for the seat suspension.
Right, underneath here?
Yeah, they call those the snowmen on the forum, because they kind of look like snowmen. So when I got this bike, it had just this regular seat down here. It was just velcroed right on.
Right.
And it wasn't really soft enough for me. So I was looking online. There's kits and whatnot you can buy with springs and all this stuff. Well, I was at the store looking at dog toys, and I happened to notice that the Kong dog toys look almost exactly like the snowmen.
Yeah.
So that's where I got the idea for Kong suspension.
Perfect. Yeah, Kong suspension, a little extra padding for the seats, and yeah, it looks pretty much exactly like the original pieces that are underneath the seat on the sidecar. A couple other cool things on this, of course, you've got a little jerry can here, you have a spare tire, you've got a rack on the sidecar and a rack on the bike itself.
Yeah, you got the trunk.
Trunk. Exactly. You've got a trunk behind the seat. I mean, this is a pretty rugged little machine. Is this a shovel over here?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it comes from the factory with the shovel.
Yeah, of course.
So
why not
the gear
have a
up
shovel,
model,
right? Oh yeah. Actually, our behind the camera, Alex just pointed out something I was forgetting. This is a pretty funny label here. It says, warning, left and right hand turns may be dangerous with sidecar accessory. That's not something that you added as a joke, right?
That's from the factory. Yep.
So like you were saying, around turns, it's not necessarily...
Yeah, if it says 30 miles an hour, you should probably go 30 miles an hour, especially when you're starting out with the sidecar. One thing they kind of joke about on the forums is if someone steals your bike, you don't got to worry about it. You just got to go to the next turn, and you'll find them laying there. Because when you take a right-hand turn with it, it will it can lift up the sidecar.
Come up. I could see how it could be a little scary sometimes riding with a sidecar, but the fact that this one is two-wheel drive and the fact that this bike is just so simple, rugged, old school, military grade, it's pretty badass.
Yep.
Awesome. Well,
thank you.
Thank you again for bringing it by.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And
awesome.
we hope to see more bikes like this out on the road. That's all for this video. We'll catch you in the next one.